Well, Stellenbosch University launching a state-of-the-art biomedical centre tonight. The R1.2 billion construction houses over 500 biomedical researchers and students, also due to contribute to research on treating illnesses, particularly in South Africa and on our continent. Our reporter, Erin Bates, is there. Erin, good afternoon to you. How important is this facility?
Well, certainly important for the understanding of various diseases, Stephen, and also the interplay between environmental factors, so environmental change, and different kinds of, airborne diseases and others. I'm certainly no expert in this field, and I'm glad to say that I have a guest on standby who is. Stephen, the laboratory behind me has been up and running for some 4 weeks, but some of the machines within it were critical to identifying some of the key characteristics of Omicron, and Professor Tulio de Oliveira is here, Director of SERI, who's going to tell us more about, firstly, some of those machines and also the event this evening.
Yeah, thank you. So what we have here, we have the largest equipment that exists in the African continent. So what we talk about very high throughput DNA sequencers machine. We have over 100 million rand on equipment here, and all the people and extra support mechanism to characterize and identify virus and bacteria in real time. A very massive investment made by external funders, which is hosted in this new building, the Biomedical Research Innovation Building, which it is with no doubt the best biomedical facility in existence now in Africa.
And not only Africa, but I understand the Southern Hemisphere. You were saying to me that you're starting to do some interesting research on the interplay between climate change, environmental variation, and disease. What are you doing?
So as the COVID pandemic decreases, we are using our expertise to fight other diseases, other epidemics. And the one that is happening very often around the world is epidemics amplified by climate change. So, for example, following a flood, you have recent in Durban, you have this contamination of E. coli in the ocean. We have, unfortunately, the same following floods in Malawi and Mozambique. You have now the biggest cholera epidemic that ever happened in Africa happen now. And then what we do at SERI, we take a team, we send to the countries, we help them to characterize in real time, and samples coming here so we can fight these epidemics as they are happening. And if you do that, and now we can, with big data and artificial intelligence, we can start predicting. So what we want to do is to be in the right time, in the right place, before an epidemic emerges. So we can control that before it become outbreak, become an epidemic, and epidemic become a pandemic.
Now, I understand President Cyril Ramaphosa and the head of the WHO are two prominent visitors to the centre as it was finally being fixed up. It's taken a couple of years, 1.2 billion rand to build and finished this very year. What is happening behind us? What are the kinds of things that happen in the lab behind this glass?
Yes, so it is afternoon. What we are doing here now, we are loading pathogen data in two of our big sequencers. One of them is sequencing resistance strains of TB, tuberculosis. Is very important to quickly identify resistance and put patients in the right treatment and avoid the transmission of drug-resistant TB. And the other one is continuous our COVID surveillance. So we still every week produce sequence data from COVID to understand which variants are circulating in the country. And the good news is that we don't see anything that worry us, but so important to make sure that if a new variant comes, not only of COVID or drug-resistant TB or other pathogen, that we can identify that very quick.
Prof, I was asked, and I think you're a better place to answer this question, what this facility will mean for research in biomedical science, and not only for South Africa, but for the African continent.
Okay, so SERI is one of many groups inside the Biomedical Research Institute building, and that's so important. We have over 500 scientists from dozens of groups working together. As we speak this week, what we did, we support with the Africa CDC, the World Health Organization. We brought 36 fellows from 25 African countries, and they are staying here for a few weeks where they are trained on also how to identify epidemics and how to start doing the same process that we are doing here. So what we see is that this facility is important not only for South Africa, but also for Africa and for the world. And why we want that? We know that viruses, they don't respect borders. So we want to make sure that we can support other African countries to detect a pathogen there before they emerge and are introduced in South Africa.
Prof. Oliveira, thank you very much. Stephen, throughout this evening, we're going to get a better and better sense of what's happening within the walls of the various labs here. And as you hear, really important work, not only in terms of understanding different diseases, but also then doing things like planning around public health, safety, and mitigating the effects of viruses, which don't know borders, as the professor says, and aren't going away anytime soon.
Thank you very much indeed. Do appreciate that update.